You're not being dramatic for needing more. You're getting one-sided love, and it's very dehydrating. I have struggled so much with this particular area of my life. I did not realize how drained I was from giving my all to people who either did not have the capacity to give much of anything back or just didn't want to and wasn't going to until I took a step back from everything and everyone. And it just made me realize, especially with all the time that I've had to evaluate some occasions, some events, some situations that have happened in the past, and really see it for what it is, took the rose-colored glasses off and saw it for what it really was and not what I've tried to convince myself that it was, because I did a lot of that too. I made excuses for people, I gave valid reasoning for people. Even though they didn't give me actual reasoning or anything, I created the stories, I created the reasons, I created the trauma behind things and excused their behavior. I am over it. There's a difference between a transactional relationship and a mutually beneficial relationship, a relationship where both people love each other, care for each other, and support each other, even if the versions of support and love from each other looks different. It still has to be poured into each other. And if you're not pouring into me, like at all, who do I look like pouring into you? Over pouring into you. Neglecting myself, somebody who's begging to be in your life, somebody who loves you more than I love myself, and I refuse. And you should refuse too, because you are worth more than being neglected, not even just by yourself, but by everybody else around you. They don't deserve to be in your presence. Absolutely not. So we're gonna stop that today with this conversation. Let's talk about what a one-sided friendship, relationship, interaction feels and looks like. You initiate most, if not all, the conversations. Doesn't it kind of feel like you're trying to force something out of this person? Like it feels like you're pulling teeth to just get a good morning text or to get a response for something that is supposed to be of importance to the both of you, but you seem to be the only one acting like it's actually important. You have to keep sending reminder messages because they're just not getting it. They're just not involving themselves. You support them in as much as you can in every way that you can. Sometimes it means showing up. Sometimes it means donating to their cause. Sometimes it means sending them a good luck message or posting them on your social media, reposting their projects, whatever it is, you still show up and you still support in whatever way that you are capable of. Yet they dismiss you. Yet they make you feel like you have to ask them for support. You have to force them into remembering that you're their friend or that you're their girlfriend, you're their boyfriend. You have to make them remember you. Like, hi, I'm here. Did you forget about me? Did you forget that I like to do this stuff too? Did you forget that I like to be around? That I matter? At least I thought I did. Not even an afterthought, because at least an afterthought, you're still thought about. Granted, like after it happens, but you're still thought about. Sometimes you don't even get that. Sometimes you're completely forgotten until they need you. And that's when they remember you again. Which brings me to they only show up when it's convenient for them. The concept of convenience is okay. Because, if you're at work and somebody's just asking for help to build something, I personally would not leave work to help you build something. But if somebody close to you died and you had nobody to talk to and the only person you wanted to talk to was me, I might leave work early to be there for you. There's a good chance that I would, because I understand how hard that is, and for you to be by yourself during your time that, you can be very, very vulnerable to very negative thoughts and go into a deep depression and stuff. Like, I would want to be there for you if I absolutely can. If there's a way and a will, I will. When it makes them look good, when it's only beneficial for them, If it's gonna do something for them, get them somewhere, and that's the only time they want to show up. And even when they show up, they're not even presenting it that it's for you, that they're really happy for you, they're excited about whatever's happening in your life. Yeah. If you don't feel good after hanging out with them, after having an interaction with them, if it kind of feels heavy, if you kind of feel like you wasted your time, if you feel like really iffy about the time you spent and like what happened in the time, if it just didn't really align with you, it's probably a relationship that you should not really be pouring into either as much as you are, or like something you should really just distance yourself from. You don't necessarily have to cut off everybody, but there needs to be some restrictions that you have for yourself, because otherwise all you're gonna be is drained every time you're around. You're just not gonna feel good. You're not gonna be in the best moods. You're gonna always feel like you need a lot of time to recharge because they drained the energy out of you, drained all that you had or all that you could have had for yourself. They picked it up and ran with it. Like, they left you nothing. And it's a sign and something you should be listening to. Let's talk about why we stay, why we stick around. Psychology, trauma. Let's talk about it. We hold on to friendships, relationships, even family members because they've been around for so long, because they know so much about us, because we've invested so much time into them that it kind of just feels like a waste to just cut them off or to just stop being around them or distance yourself. It just doesn't feel good. You're thinking that, oh, well, we have a lot of history. That means that I have to fight for what we have. No, it doesn't. No, it doesn't. Because if you're the only one fighting, it's not a relationship worth fighting for. It's not a friendship worth fighting for. It's not a family member worth fighting for. Sometimes your history isn't even healthy. That's why when we look back at things and we're like, dang, the red flags were there, but I chose to ignore them. Most of the time, we do choose to ignore them. It's not that we didn't see them, it's that we gave excuses for why they were happening. We gave reasons for why people couldn't show up in the way that we needed, in the way that we deserved. I know nobody really wants to admit this, but if not all, most of us are afraid of being alone. And it's not fun to admit it because it makes us feel like we're weak and vulnerable and have no independence. No. It's just, you just really want to love somebody, or you just really want to have at least one bond in your life that you can relate to, that you can have involved, that you can share things with. If you're meant to be with somebody, if there's a friendship you're supposed to have for life, they're gonna be there and they're gonna treat you the way you deserve to be treated. And your bond and relationship and your experiences, it's gonna be healthy. It's not gonna be bad for you. It's not gonna send you in the wrong direction. You're not gonna feel like you're having to prove your worth to be in somebody's life. That's not what it's gonna feel like. I would be more afraid to never feel like I'm enough for somebody who is in my life and who I continue to have in my life than to be afraid of being alone. You think that loving them harder will make things better, will make them want to love you more, will make them acknowledge you more, change them, but it doesn't. I've done this with friends. I've done this with guys that I've been interested in. When has that ever worked? I can answer that for you. 0. Sometimes you feel guilty because you don't want them to feel bad. You don't want to leave them behind. You're hoping that you're wrong about everything that you're seeing or you're noticing. You feel obligated because you care so much about these people that you don't want to just give up. Real love, real friendship nourishes you. They don't deplete you. They don't drain your energy. They don't make you feel bad. When you make the decision that it's probably best if you start pulling back, you start keeping a distance a little bit, I tend to think that's petty. That means that I think I'm better than other people. No, it doesn't mean that. If anything, it's acknowledging your feelings and respecting theirs. Even if they're not willing to be upfront or be open, or even if they don't understand what they're feeling, you're the one that's making the decision. Congratulations, you're powerful. Loving people from a distance is still love. Keeping a healthy distance is necessary sometimes for people to do their thing and figure out their own life. You do your thing, figure out your own life, and when it's time, y'all will realign. Boundaries don't make you rude. They make you honest. That is self-respect in its truest form. Boundaries are necessary. They're not meant to hurt anybody. They're meant to actually help. Only people who feel entitled to you would get pissed off at you making boundaries. I'm just saying. We gotta stop asking people to meet needs that they've already shown us that they're not willing to do. Stop watering friendships that keep leaving you thirsty. Stop pouring into people who are not willing to pour into you. If this resonated with you, talk to me. Let me know what you're feeling. And I'll see you in the next conversation.